It's me, Vicky Marie. And good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. So, in this morning's chat, we're going to talk about three things. We're going to talk about a very sad thing that's happened in the north of Spain. Two British children have been drowned in the sea. Misadventure at the end of the day. And I want to talk about that because, it's holiday time, isn't it? As I'm making this video, it's the 31st of July today. People will be going off on holiday, presuming their flights aren't delayed, of course, etc. After everything that, have you noticed that every year or every time it's like it's holiday time or Christmas, etc. There's always some big problem with travel one way or another. And of course, there was a problem yesterday at the airports in the UK. We'll never get to find out really what happened. I think it's all back working again now. But there were delays, everybody going off on holiday. Of course, it's, the schools have broken up. It's very popular time to go away. And bump, there's an outage or who knows what's happened. I've just given up even trying to, because I just don't believe a word that's said anyway. But yeah, flights going out of the UK yesterday were disrupted for a short amount of time, but they were disrupted. So, of course, it's holiday time. People will be going abroad. They'll be swimming in swimming pools. They'll be swimming in the sea. And that's how these two children have died, in the sea, swimming in the sea in the north of Spain, in Salou. And we're going to be talking about that. Very sad case. But the reason I'm talking about that is really just a warning, a reminder. We talk about water safety quite often, don't we, on this channel? And you can't ever talk about it enough, really. There are things you have to be careful about. Just because you're on holiday does not mean that things can't happen to you. And unfortunately, it quite often happens when people are on holiday, because that is when they let their guard down, don't they? So we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to talk about the fact that this Devil's Den murderer, he's been apprehended. It wasn't Travis Decker. But, I always thought that was a possibility. But anyway, it isn't him. So Travis Decker, at the end of the day, he's still on the run. Or is he deceased somewhere? But the actual person who murdered the two parents in Devil's Den in America has been apprehended. So that was quick. The police have done really well there. We're going to look at that. We're going to watch the police conference. And apparently he was having a haircut at the time locally. He's not local to the area. He also had moved to the area only recently, as had the people that were murdered. And don't forget, their two children survived. Their two little girls survived. So we don't know all the details. We don't know why he targeted this family. Just don't know all the full details. But all that we do know, and which is good news, is the suspect has been arrested. Though there's a long way, obviously, to go in the investigation. But the police seem satisfied that they've got the right person. Then we're going to talk about the mushroom murderess, Lady Mushroom. Maybe that's a good name for her. Instead of Lady Macbeth, because I always think of her as Lady Macbeth because of the poisonings. Lady Mushroom. I'm not going to mention her name, but her name will be mentioned in things that I read out as I'm talking about her. But for me, I'm not mentioning her actual name. It'd be difficult for it not to come out. But I'm trying to just think of her as the mushroom murderess. She doesn't deserve a name. She's a vicious, evil, calculating murderess. And so she doesn't deserve any respect whatsoever. And anyway, apparently her house has been seized because, Lady McMushroom, she is a woman of means. She's got plenty of money. You know, she's Moneybags McMushroom, isn't she? And now her house has been seized by the court, and we're going to talk about that because it's probably going to be restitution that she has to pay to the families of her victims. And of course, one of her victims is still alive, Ian. So, yeah, it's brilliant. But, you know, having said that, well, what I'm going to talk about when I talk about this, it's very complicated, isn't it? Because, of course, Lady McMushroom, she has 2 children. And she also has a husband, because her and her husband, even though apparently she tried to kill him as well on several occasions, they are still married. So I don't know how all that money stuff works out. But anyway, she can't sell, her house can't be sold. It's been seized by the court. And we're going to discuss that later. So that's 3 things that we're going to talk about this morning. There's actually loads of things to talk about. I was thinking maybe I need to do like at least once a week, like a news review. And I was thinking about it like, you know, maybe a Thursday or a Friday where, you know, I have to arrange things around my classes. Now, because those of you who don't know, I'm a Spanish teacher. I know there's always new people coming onto my channel all the time. As it comes into the summer, I don't have many Spanish classes. People don't want to learn Spanish generally in the summer. I'm based in Spain, in mainland Spain. It's still really hot, though a lot cooler than it was. It's only 27 degrees so far today. I mean, that is nothing compared to what it has been in the 30s, even 40 degrees. So, but of course, as you can imagine, people's brains don't work properly. They generally don't want to learn Spanish in the summer. So I have a lull in Spanish classes. So I will be trying to do more videos for the crime channel, etc., or information channel. I do crime, but I do all sorts of things. I talk about a lot of different things. Anything I think my chatters will find interesting. And my chatters, of course, are from all over the place. Europe, Britain, Australia, America. Those are the main places. But I know that I do have chatters from all over the world. So I try and do interesting stories, crimes. You know, I try and do a little bit of a mixture of everything. Things that I go for what I find most interesting first and hope that because my chatters generally are like-minded people, you know, people like, so that I hope then that my chatters will find interesting what I find interesting. And, you know, of course, it's a pick and choose, it's a pick and mix. I know that if you put your notifications on, there'll be times a notification might come up and you might think, oh, I don't think I'm really interested in that. You don't watch it. That's what I do with my favorite YouTubers as well. Don't watch every single video that they put out. It depends on what the subject is. You know, that's how it is, isn't it? That's the beauty of YouTube, isn't it? You can pick a mix. You know, you don't have to watch everything. And this, I hope, you know, this what I'm always reminding the trolls. It's not obligatory to watch me, you know. If you don't like me, don't agree with my views, or, you know, you don't agree with my views and you can't just accept that I have a different view to you, just watch another YouTube channel. It's like really easy, isn't it? It's not, I don't understand why people seem to take it personally if my video doesn't suit them, as if, you know, they haven't got a choice in what they watch. So what I'm going to start off by saying in this video, I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping as well, because I always forget to do my housekeeping, like to talk about the books that I've written, or to talk about my shop, or talk about becoming a member, etc. But don't worry, I'm not going to talk about it all at once and bore you stiff like for, you know, 20 minutes at a time. I'm going to do them in small sort of little installments, like ad breaks, you know, a word from my sponsor, which is me. So yeah, you will be seeing some bits of info, and I want to thank everybody who has supported me in any of these things that I'm going to talk about, either buying my books, buying merch from my, or buy me a Ko-fi, etc. I'm going to say thank you for all that. So first of all, yeah, thank you. Thank you is the most important thing. Gratitude, just in life in general, isn't it? You have to say thank you for everything. You know, honestly, sometimes I get up in the morning, just thank you for waking up in the first place. And then, of course, coming down, making your coffee. And what I've been trying to think, you know, because sometimes I have quite a lot of cleaning to do, you know, having a young adult living in the house, having 3 dogs living in the house. There's quite a lot of cleaning involved. There's quite a lot of stairs in my house. And I've tried to turn that around from, well, you know, I won't swear, but from, oh God, I've got to clean these stairs again, to, well, luckily for me, I've got these stairs to clean. I've got a home to clean. So many people homeless. So many people had to leave their homes for, you know, natural disasters like floods or the tsunami warning that a lot of homes had, or war, or all sorts of reasons that people haven't got a home. So, yeah, I have to feel grateful I've got a home to clean. That's what I'm really trying to do. Got stairs to clean, you know, but sometimes it gets on top of all of us, the sort of routine of daily life. You know, sometimes, you know, life isn't a great big picnic, is it? So there's interspersed, I think life, it's like, you know, a lot of mundane things, sort of interspersed with nice things and nice people. And like when I come on to chat to you guys, that's one of the highlights of my day. You know, but then there's other bits, there's nothing terrible, but you know what I mean, or you do get some problems come up. I mean, there's loads of problems you might have, and some are more serious than others, you know. But I know people, my chatters, some of them are grappling with mental health issues, physical health issues, financial issues, relationship issues, or problems with the kids, or problems with family in general, or just depression. You know, sometimes people feel down, they don't even know why they feel down. So there's all those things that we're grappling against every day, just in our daily lives. You know, life is not a bowl of cherries, is it? But really, you know, we should appreciate, you know, there's always someone's life that's worse than yours. There's always, yeah, you could be waking up to bombs falling around you, or floods, or, you know. So I do always try and be positive. So thank you as well to you lot, because you're the ones that keep me going in this life when I feel down. But thank you for liking, thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing. A special thank you, as always, to my members. I'm going to put a little video on in a minute to show you why you should become a member, what's the benefits of being a member of my channel, apart from just supporting me, of course. You know, I know a lot of people, they're members because they like my channel, they want to support me, and that I appreciate that so much. But there are other reasons. You get to use the emojis, the special emojis. Every Thursday is a special members live, exclusive members live. Today is Thursday, I think. And so tonight we're going to have a members live. And members lives are always a little bit more informal. You know, we can chat about anything we want to. They're a bit more risque, I think, sometimes. And yeah, don't have to worry so much about the whole world watching. It's more of a club, isn't it? The elite chatterati in the members. Thank you for those of you buying me a Ko-fi, send me a super sticker. Haven't checked my emails today, so sorry if you've sent me an email, but I appreciate everyone who sends me an email, leaves a nice comment, etc. Thank you so much. So why should you become a member? Well, I'm just going to put on very briefly before we get into everything, why you should. Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. Now, maybe you're thinking of becoming a member. So why should you become a member? Now, apart from the fact it supports my channel. At the end of the day, the members are the mainstay of my channel and make a big difference to keeping this channel going. The memberships help to pay towards streaming costs, updating equipment, going on location, all those things. Because unfortunately, YouTube do not pay small YouTubers like me a massive amount of money, but it just keeps it going. And it's also a sign to me that people appreciate me, which is a really nice feeling. Also, though, apart from that, every Thursday we have a special members live. Our membership community is special. We are a family. We really are a family. My community in general is like a family, but especially the memberships. So if you want to join in the Thursday membership lives and really feel a part of my community, please become a member. The other thing, of course, is you get to use the members emojis, which I try and change every now and again, especially if we're covering a certain case in a deep way, like we were with the Erin Patterson mushroom murder trials. We had special emojis to use for that. So, yeah. And also, there are special bonuses every now and again at Christmas and special occasions, some things that are offered only to my members, and videos that go out only to my members as well, messages, etc. Some personal things sometimes that I share with my members. So thank you so much for even considering it. Thank you for watching. You don't have to become a member to support my channel. It's just that little step further. If you're thinking about it, I hope that you will join us, join the family on a Thursday live as a member. So thank you. I'll see you really soon. And of course, as always, may your God go with you. Okay, so I'm going to take my banner off now. I'm going to say hello to everybody. So hello to you lovely lurkers out there. Thank you for watching. Hello to the loathsome lurkers. Not sure why you're watching, but thank you anyway. Hi to replay crew. Thank you so much. And now I'm going to come into the chat and say hello to those of you who are brave enough to venture into the chat. Oh, and before I do that, I just want to one of my members has right in the middle of all that was going on yesterday in Britain, travelled from Australia to the UK. And I just want to say hello if you're watching on replay crew. I'm not sure if you've arrived yet or what's going on. I hope in the end your trip was well, went well, Bluebell, and hope to see you soon in the next live. But I just wanted to give you a little shout out. I hope everything went well and you've arrived safely. Okay, so let's come into the chat. Hi, David. Hi, Tracy. Good morning. Yes, my nails always match my banner. Oh, well, you always point it out if they don't, but to be honest, I think there's only ones that I forgot. I've been trying really hard to match them up. Oh, there's only David and Tracy chatting at the moment. There's more of you watching, and anyway, hopefully you'll feel brave enough to come into the chat at some point. But if not, absolutely no problem. Thank you for watching. So we're going to start with this very tragic story of these two children that have drowned while on holiday to Spain. And I think, I just want to bring this while on holiday to Spain. I'm on the wrong... I went on to the wrong thing there, sorry. I was going on to my own... Anyway, never mind. Where is it? There it is. So, yeah, this happened in the north of Spain, in Salou, Yaga Beach. Sorry, I've still got some sound coming through on that other video. What turned it? There you go. Yeah, I've never been to Salou, actually, though my family have. It's supposed to be beautiful, especially, in the summer. Yeah, Yaga Beach in Salou. Let's have a look at it on Google Maps, actually. I mean, it's right at the... have I been to... Oh, no, I've been to Lorette de Mar, which isn't far away, I don't think. Let's have a look. Actually, there might be a video here. Yeah, let's just watch this video. So I think this is the beach there. Well, you can see the sea looks very calm. The problem with the Mediterranean Sea, of course, are the undercurrents. So apparently when this happened, it was on yellow flag. So, you know, the Spanish beaches have always got flags up. You've got High Derren, High Yvonne. You've got green flag, which means no problems in bathing. Yellow flag, which apparently was a yellow flag this particular day. And then red flag, where you're not allowed to go in the sea at all, which, you know, is really irritating when you go to the beach and so many people just, the lifeguards are just blowing the whistle constantly because so many people just don't take any notice of the red flag and in they go into the sea. But anyway, yellow flag is a funny one, isn't it? Personally, if I was to give advice, especially for children, but for anyone, to be honest, if it's a yellow flag, just don't go in because yellow flag is a warning. All the same, it might not be like a red flag. It's a sort of medium risk, but do you really want to take that risk? Or if to go in, but just to go in like these people are doing, just wading, you know, going in just to freshen up, but not go out too far when there's a yellow flag. But anyway, hindsight is a wonderful thing. You know, sometimes people don't go out that far, but they get swept out further. So that may well be what happened here. So apparently these children, an 11-year-old and a 13-year-old, were in the sea with their dad. Now their dad has been saved. I can't imagine how he must feel. And my heart goes out to the family of these children because coping with this would be a nightmare. And again, in a foreign country.
Ayer estaba el mar muy mal, muy picado. Sí. Muy...
So she's saying it was very choppy the day before.
Muy mal, muy picado. Yo, por lo menos cuando llegamos aquí en la tarde, que va, era imposible bañarse, porque las olas eran horribles y además mucho viento. ¿Y qué pasa? Esas olas cuando llegan a la orilla, lo que hacen es enredarte, ¿entiendes? Había que tomar mucha precaución.
Now, maybe it should have been a red flag day. You know, apparently it was a yellow flag. Maybe it should have been a red flag. I mean, in this time of year, there are lots of lifeguards and that patrolling, but, you know, they can't be everywhere all at once, can they? But it's interesting her saying about the sea being very choppy. Is it in Salou? It'll still be the Mediterranean, won't it? Won't be the Atlantic, will it? But anyway, yeah, just so very sad. So my recommendation would be, if it's yellow flag, don't swim. Maybe wade out, you know, waist high or whatever, but don't go in there and swim. And you know, she's saying it was really choppy and really, why was it only yellow flag then? It should have been red flag, surely. You know, but anyway, I suppose there'll be an investigation. I don't know.
Precaución, la verdad.
So they had like a minute's silence or at the town hall. So yeah, Catalan police told Sky News there was a yellow flag, meaning that swimming is permitted but with caution due to potential hazards at the time the children went into the sea.
Sit down and shut up.
Yeah, so they had a minute silence or whatever thing. Anyway, let's have a look at, I wanted to read it out from the BBC. So yeah, British brother and sister aged 11 and 13 have died after drowning off a beach on the east coast of Spain, according to local authorities. That's right, I was going to see where Salou was. I was thinking it was in the north, but it says it's the east, so it's in Catalonia. I'll say I've never been there, so I don't know. Ah. So most people will probably know Madrid and will probably know Valencia, Alicante. They're probably the most well-known places, aren't they? Alicante a lot because Benidorm. A lot of people fly to Alicante to go to Benidorm. So Salou is, it's not where I thought it was. It just shows you. Honestly, my geography is just a nightmare. I thought it was more, along here somewhere, but of course it couldn't be because then it won't be on the coast. So I probably thought it was more near Lorette. But it's, it's not that far from Valencia, is it? Near Barcelona, so it's in Catalonia. It's a very popular holiday destination anyway. Sorry, I wasn't sharing. There you go. That's where it is, up near Barcelona. As I say, Alicante, Valencia, which probably people are more familiar with, are here. I think probably, and then Madrid, of course, right in the centre. So, Barcelona is a beautiful place. As I say, I've been to Lloret de Mar, I've been to Barcelona, but I've never been to Salou. It's probably worth a visit, I don't know. But not swim in the sea when it's a yellow flag. So going back to the article. So the two children, along with their father, were pulled from the water at Yaga Beach in Salou, Tarragona by emergency services on Tuesday evening. Tragically, the boy and girl could not be saved despite the best efforts of rescuers, said the head of the local police force, Jose Luis Gargallo. He added that the father survived, although he had swallowed a large amount of water and was in a state of exhaustion. Officials earlier reported that the children who died had both been boys, but actually it was a boy and a girl. The sea was rough and people sometimes underestimate its power, especially in this area, which is usually very calm. I think that's the whole problem, especially the Mediterranean Sea. It looks calm sometimes and it's not. It's not like the Atlantic that always looks a bit wild, doesn't it? 90% of the time there is no danger on that beach and it's considered an ideal spot for swimming. But Tuesday it was different, not just at that beach, but along the entire coast. Oh gosh, and lifeguards on the beach had finished by the time the emergency call came in about the drowning children, shortly before 9 o'clock. Oh my God. So the lifeguards weren't there. I think that's the other thing to remember as well. Lifeguards aren't 24 hours on the beaches. They start at a certain time, they finish at a certain time, and they're only there in the summer months or holiday like Easter, etc. They're not there all year round. So lifeguards on the beach had finished by the time the emergency call came in about the drowning children shortly before 9. And Mr. Gargallo said the children and father were from a family of 5. And the mother and other children were back at their hotel nearby. I think the other thing is these children were a little bit older, weren't they? They weren't like tiny little children. you know, you think that they're sort of capable swimmers, but I tell you, adults, nobody is. When that sea is choppy, I know so many people that have got into difficulty in the sea, and you know, in places near me that are not known for being, you know, places that people die. But then there are certain beaches that are notorious that you would avoid like the plague, especially if you had children. And you know what it's like it's wave jumping, things like that are popular, aren't they? Especially with teenagers, I think. You know, obviously little kids don't really like the wave jumping and that because they get overwhelmed by the waves. And you know, when my son was young, we used to do a lot of wave jumping. Well, you can imagine though, because he then sort of grew up, and even when he was 11, he was, you know, over 6 foot tall, and I'm 5'2". So it was like we just couldn't do we couldn't do wave jumping together because he could go so far in, he wouldn't even, you know, have the water up to here, whereas I'd be like submerged before the wave even came. And you know, that's how it is. You've just got to always be aware of your limitations, your capabilities. There's no point in me trying to go into deep water and trying to wave jump because I'm not tall enough. Simple as that. And I'm not confident enough either. I don't really like the sea that much, so I do like it. I like the feeling when I'm in there, but you know, you've always got, and of course the sands shift, don't they? So even as you're trying to come out, you know, you're trying to come out and the sand's shifting under your feet, and you can easily trip up or fall over, etc. So, you know, it's a matter of confidence and height, I think, as far as wave jumping is concerned. So, no, the thing is, this father and his children, they probably went in. They might not have even been that far out. You know, a friend of mine, her mother got into terrible problems, nearly died. Wasn't even that far out. She just got taken over towards some rocks, you know. Anyway, she was very lucky. She was saved by a young guy who just you know, jumped in there and went and got her, because her husband tried to save her. He couldn't save her because she was pulling him under, and he nearly sort of went under himself. So anyway, it's a horrible situation, but it was fine. They were okay. She was okay. But you learn a lesson from that, don't you? So he said that the authorities would review everything and take steps to prevent any similar future incidents. And speaking to the BBC, local authorities in Salou said they were deeply saddened by Tuesday night's tragedy, and a minute's silence was held outside Salou Town Hall just before midday on Wednesday. Police earlier said sea conditions were rough and the beach had a yellow flag throughout the day, meaning that swimming is allowed but caution is advised, local media reported. 7 medical units were dispatched to the scene, and police and fire services also attended. And authorities also sent a team of psychologists to support the family. Well, I hope they can speak English, because that's the other thing. Again, you know, when we've looked at tragedies that happen in foreign countries, you know, you've always got the language problem. It is a problem. Of course it is. I hope the family are being looked at. I just can't imagine how that family will feel. And a spokesperson for the UK Foreign Office said what they always say. They always say the same thing. We're supporting the family of 2 British children who have died in Spain or in contact with local authorities. The Civil Protection Force urged the importance of taking extreme precautions on beaches, swimming pools and inland waters this summer. Yeah, and they're going to go on to mention, I don't know if you read about it, I didn't highlight it because it was just, again, so sad. You feel like you're trying to party poop anyone who's going on holiday, trying to give them these warnings. But they are important. There was 2 young guys who couldn't swim, who jumped into a swimming pool. They'd literally practically just arrived, hadn't they, at their hotel. 2 friends jumped in the swim pool and drowned, you know. That wasn't in Salou, though. I think that was in the Costa del Sol. According to figures from the Salou municipality, around 1.3 million British tourists visit the town every year. That's just one town in Spain. And it comes after a number of other British deaths in Spain this summer. 2 British men died in separate incidents at a hotel and music venue. Oh, they're the ones that fell off the balconies, I think, didn't they? But also, where will they talk about? Where's the Friends? Yeah, that was the Ibiza Rocks. Ibiza Rocks paused its events because 2 British people died at the site. But, you know, I don't know what they were doing. I don't want to go into that because I don't like victim blaming either. But sometimes people do silly things. But this particular incident I was thinking of, let's see if I can get it up. I don't know if you saw it in the news. These were 2 friends. Of course, it's not coming up now because the only thing that's coming up are the children who died. I think it was Costa del Sol. No, it just keeps coming up about the brother and sister now. That's a bit annoying. What? They were best friends, I think. They were on holiday together. And it's not coming up for some reason. Anyway, the reason that I'm talking about this, no, it's not coming up. Anyway, the reason that I'm talking about this is just a warning. So it's not to spoil people's holidays. You know, people love to swim. Part of the reason of going away is to go to the beach, in the pool or whatever. Hi, Daniel. So, you know, it's not saying don't enjoy your holiday, but just please be careful. And honestly, for me, if it's a yellow flag, don't swim. Yellow flag or red flag. A red flag, you're not allowed to swim. Yellow flag, don't swim. It's just not worth taking the chance, is it? And also have a look, make sure there are lifeguards around. So if you're going in the sea after 9 o'clock in the evening, the lifeguards aren't there. So then you've got to just hope, if you did get into trouble, you just have to hope that there's somebody around who, you know, who understood about life saving, etc. Because if there isn't, then, well, you know, it's just, I think you've got to not underestimate the power of the sea, even when it looks calm. In fact, sometimes I think when it looks calm, it's more dangerous because people don't realize how dangerous it is. The undercurrent looks all lovely on the surface, and underneath you can feel it. When you walk out, you can normally feel it around your legs. You feel your legs being pulled, even though the surface looks so calm. And then, of course, swimming pools, it's a question of, you know, just being careful again, isn't it? You know, hopefully. And if you can't swim or you're not a strong swimmer, just don't do it. You know, why? Those 2 friends who died, that I can't find the story, they both jumped in at the same time, and they both got into trouble, but apparently they couldn't swim. So don't know why they jumped into the pool, probably because they'd had too much to drink. So, you know, but rest in peace, all of them. It's horrible. It's awful, isn't it, to be on holiday and for this sort of tragedy to strike. But I think just what you have to remember is just because you're on holiday doesn't mean to say you have to leave your sensible head behind you. You know, you have to still wear your sensible head, even though you're on holiday. Hi, Joanne. So, okay, so that's the first story I wanted to tell you about, or the first case that I wanted to tell. It's not a case, it's not a crime. It's just a very sad terrible accident, isn't it? And I hope that family are getting the help that they need, because they will need it. So what we're going to talk about next then is this Devil's Den, the Devil's Den murders. Let me just stop sharing that. I'm going to put up the picture. Now, we covered yesterday, we looked at these Devil's Den murders. So this was something that happened in Arkansas in the USA. And this couple were out in the national park on a hike with their two daughters, young daughters, and were brutally murdered. We don't know the full circumstances yet, but the police had put out, some description of who they were looking for. The daughters escaped. The daughters found their way to the sort of tourist centre, and the police were rang, but unfortunately it was too late to save their parents, who were just out there. They hadn't been in the area that long. The same apparently as the perpetrator. And then a sketch was released. Now I want to show you the sketch and the photo of the person who's been arrested. So remember, we were talking, maybe was it even possible it might be anything to do with Travis Decker? But no, it's not. So this is the suspect who's been arrested. Now, this to me is the thing about these photo fits. You can see, I'm not blaming the kids. At the end of the day, it's very difficult to. They don't really look alike, do they? So maybe the eyes a little bit. Of course, he had a baseball cap on, but look, the mouth is completely different, and the maybe he's got a bigger chin than, like, this is a very short chin. He's got bigger ears. I think photo fits, there's always a problem with photo fits, isn't there? Because not only relying on the memory of somebody, but people have different memories. It'd be interesting. I'd like to do, to sort of do an experiment with that. I mean, I don't know how I could do it, but if you just looked at, show someone a picture of someone just for a moment, and don't forget, of course, this is in traumatic circumstances as well, when they would have seen this guy. So the kids were probably just, apparently, it's being said, and again, I don't know if it's true, because hear all these rumors that the 9/11 operator said that she heard the parents say to the girls, just run as far as you can. So those girls will have been in a mad panic. Their parents were being attacked. The parents are telling them to run. So how much could they really remember of the person, And I think it's interesting with the eyes there, because obviously they saw this person at their worst as they were attacking their parents. So is it, the eyes of somebody who's just having a mugshot taken are going to be different from the eyes of someone who's trying to kill someone. Like the whole persona will be different. Of course, the nose is different. So just, I think it's a good example. It shows, I think the cheekbones are quite good, quite accurate, aren't they? But the length of the mouth isn't, he's got this little prissy mouth, hasn't he? Whereas this is like a mean sort of long mouth. That's what reminded me of Travis Decker the most, and the lack of a chin. So apparently he was in the barbers when he was arrested. So he was having a trim at the time. So let's have a look at, let's see, I've got a few videos for us to watch about this. I'm going to put a couple of windows down. That one can go down. Let's have a look at this video first.
All right, we are breaking into our regular programming for just a few moments to set up what will take place at 9:30 this afternoon, or this evening. There will be a press conference at the Arkansas State Police Troop headquarters in Lowell. The governor will be there along with state police officials. all to announce that there has been an arrest made in the Devil's Den double murder. If we have a picture, we could maybe try to show that, or we can just real quickly read the press. There's the picture. His name is James McCann. He is 28 years old. He's from Springdale. He was arrested in connection with the double homicide that took place on Saturday at Devil's Den State Park. He was arrested and taken into custody at a Springdale business just before 5 o'clock.
Yes. And so, as we know, this happened on Saturday at Devil's Den. There's been a manhunt going on up until this point. And now this is the information we're learning right now from Arkansas State Police that this person has been.
Yeah, James McGann. He's 28. So young. I've been trying to put a comment on there to agree with you, David. Yes, I think the police did really well. And every time I try and put the comment on, YouTube's rejecting it and telling me it's spam. Honestly, I'll never understand YouTube and what they accept and what they don't accept. So all I'm trying to say is, yes, the police did great. And he's rejecting it. So I managed to put that comment up. But yeah, the police did great. I was trying to agree with you. How quickly they've apprehended him, you know, and they've had to work. Well, we're going to watch the police conference and you'll see it was nearly derailed a little bit by some social media podcasters who would say actually, because the police obviously didn't want him to know they were onto him. This James McGann, and they were onto him quite early on, I think. But obviously they didn't want him to know, so they wanted to find him and arrest him. But some podcaster, I don't know which one, but they make a reference to it in the police conference. You know, they are, you know, I suppose they are up against a lot because, you know, social media, they should not, all mainstream media should not name people. The police should have to give their permission. Sometimes the social media can run ahead, can't it, of the official investigations. I do think that is a fact.
Arrested. Now, Governor Sanders released a statement about this. She said no news can heal the enormous harm done to the Brink family in last weekend's crime, but this announcement is a comfort and reassurance for our state. She says she's so proud of all the law enforcement that has helped bring this arrest to happen, and I'm sure we'll hear more from her, obviously, at that press conference.
Yeah, she's going to be there along with the state police colonel, who is going to be there as well, and who you're looking at there now, of course, are the victims of this double homicide, 43-year-old Clinton Brink and then 41-year-old Kristen Brink. They were fatally attacked while they were hiking with her two young children on a trail there at Devil's Den late Saturday afternoon, or middle part of Saturday afternoon. The girls, who are 7 and 9, were not injured. We'll have much more about that as well too. But just to set this up, there is going to be a news conference, and of course we'll carry it live right here on 5 News. Also,
yeah, we're going to watch the news conference in a moment. Well, we're going to watch another video first of all, and then the news conference. So let's go. Let me find the other video. Put a couple of, as I say, put a couple of windows down. Yeah, let's have a look at this one. So this guy's actually outside the hairdressers where this person was arrested.
We're here outside of Lupita's Beauty Salon in Springdale. This is on Huntsville Avenue, for those of you who don't know. This is Arkansas State Police did confirm that this is where that suspect was arrested, James Andrew McGann, 28 years old. He was taken into custody just before 5 p.m. Today while getting a haircut here. He is charged with 2 counts of capital murder in the deaths of those 2 people.
Yeah, sat there as calm as a cucumber having a haircut. Double murderer. He's orphaned those children, apart from terrorizing them and terrifying them. What could the possible motive be for this?
According to social media post by a salon employee, detectives entered the shop mid-haircut and made that arrest. Video shows what appears to be investigators inside the shop photographing hair clippings on the floor with evidence markers surrounding them. Another video shows a black 4-door sedan taped off and marked as evidence being loaded onto a roll.
Joanne, this is the guy who's killed that couple who were out with their children in the national park. So
That tow truck.
the couple that's up in the right-hand picture of the screen as you're looking at it, that's a married couple. They were attacked, and luckily their children, they had 2 young children with them who managed to get away. So that couple died defending their children, didn't they?
Police have not confirmed the vehicle's connection to the case. The owner of the salon did say that police did tell her that the arrest was related to the Devil's Den murders, and now that has been confirmed by Arkansas State Police. Police did close the business down following that arrest. The scene is now clear, and the store does remain shut, but we are still, in contact with the people who work here, with the owner who confirmed that information with us earlier.
Imagine how you would feel. It'd be like me doing a Spanish class with someone, and suddenly the police turn up and arrest them. You've had a murderer sat there in your hairdressing salon. You've been trimming their hair, and he's a double murderer. And there he is in your chair, and then you've got to close down your salon.
And continue talking with her, and we're going to bring that information as soon as we have it. We're live here in Springdale. I'm Abner Sosa, 4029 News.
So let's have a look at the police. I'm going to watch that one. Sorry, we're going to have a look at the actual police conference now.
The governor is going to come out along with Colonel Mike Hager, so let's listen in.
Good evening. Thank y'all for coming in late this evening. We are here in Northwest Arkansas, a community that has been absolutely...
Now, I've got to say, they should be proud of themselves. The law enforcement, in this case, they've done really well.
Heartbroken over the course of the almost last week. Our entire state is grieving for the tragic loss and senseless and horrific crime that's taken place in this area. One of the worst experiences that certainly I've ever had was making a phone call to the Brink family earlier this week. Nothing like that should ever take place. And for a family to have to go through and deal with that level of tragedy is something that no one should ever experience, and something that we never want to take place in our state. And while that was one of the worst moments, certainly one of the moments where we're the most grateful is for the absolute tireless and heroic efforts of our law enforcement and the collaborative effort from every single level, from our city, our county, our state parks, our federal partners who have worked together to bring this person to justice. And I'm so thankful for their courageous and tireless efforts that they've put forth over the course of the last several days. And I cannot thank them enough for the way that they put themselves on the line, not just over this week, but every single day, and the way that they represent our state. I want to be clear that if you commit a violent, senseless act here in our state, our law enforcement will hunt you down and bring you to justice, because that's what the people of Arkansas frankly deserve. That's what they've asked for. And that's what this team has been able to deliver this week. And we're very grateful for their work. I want to finish by saying that I ask all Arkansans to join me in lifting the Brink family and their 2 precious daughters up in prayer, and to continue after these next few days to continue to pray for them, because it's a long road ahead and the grieving process has just begun. And I hope that our entire state will wrap their arms around this family and comfort them in a way that no other place can other than Arkansas. Thank you again for all of the efforts of those who are standing here with me tonight. And with that, I'll turn it over to Colonel Mike Hager, the head of State Police.
Thank you, Governor, and good evening. Before I start with the prepared remarks, I have to say it's the greatest of honors to stand here and represent a lot of people that are not standing at this podium. They're not in front of your cameras. We have a building full of criminal investigators from state police, local agencies, federal partners that are unshaven. They look unkempt. They've not slept in days. They've barely taken time to eat. I cannot express the gratitude I have for the men and women that have made this possible. Arkansas State Police Special Agents had arrested James Andrew McGann, 28, of Springdale. He's been charged with 2 counts of capital murder in the deaths of Clinton David Brink and Kristen Amanda Brink. Clinton and Kristen were killed on Saturday, July 26, 2025, at Devil's Den State Park. The suspect was taken into custody this evening at 4:57 p.m. at a business in the Springdale area.
Now, sorry, I just want to interrupt for a moment there because he's from Springdale, the guy. Now, I think I need a course on American geography. I get so confused with American, I get confused with any geography. But in America, there's so many places that have got the same name, isn't it? But you've got, I don't know, Springfield somewhere and lots of different Springfields, and maybe there's different Springdale. So I'm not even going to think about where Springdale is. But so apparently, because yesterday I was talking about Travis Decker, and he did what he did in Washington, but apparently there's Washington State and Washington something else. I'm not even going to go into it because I don't understand it. But apparently I got the wrong Washington, and that's not the first time that's happened with places in America that have got the same name, but there's different ones. That does happen. So I'm sorry about that. But anyway, it turns out it wasn't Travis Decker. Was it? Now let me just see if I can find, because I should clarify this about the Washington. Hang on, let me see. Just geography. I hate geography anyway. I'm not good at geography, not even of Spain, Britain, or small countries. But like America is just so huge, isn't it? It's so apparently, let me have a look at what did she say, this lady? So somebody pointed it out, and I'm so grateful of that because, it says your map shows Washington, D.C. near the East Coast, but Decker was from Washington State in the northwest corner of the U.S. So Washington, D.C. and Washington State. So that's my bad. I have to apologize for my absolute ignorance as far as that is concerned. American geography. Oh my God. And it's completely different. Let me just show you this. So you've got what? It couldn't be any further away. Why have they got 2 Washingtons? So, yeah, I do. I need a, so Arkansas is here. That's where this has happened. I was thinking it was the Washington, Travis Decker had disappeared from Washington here, but it hadn't. He disappeared from Washington up here. I mean, he still would have had time, to be honest, to get to Arkansas, wouldn't he? Because he's been missing for 2 months. I still think he's probably dead in that area somewhere. But I just want to show you that because that's how rubbish I am at geography. This Washington state couldn't be any further away from Washington, this other Washington, could it? I've got to learn to check that more when I'm looking at American, where things happened in America. So Travis Decker disappeared here in Washington state, not in Washington. So I just wanted to point that out. And I just want to say thank you to the person who pointed it out to me. And let's go back to the press conference now when I find it.
I'm extremely grateful for the long hours and dedication that our agents put forward in bringing justice to this family. The collaboration between state police and other local law enforcement agencies, our federal partners, has been second to none. I also want to thank our media partners for helping us distribute important information during these past few days. Because of their hard work and investigative skill, we were able to take a monster off the streets and bring relief to Clinton and Kristen's precious girls. And to the rest of Citizens Park.
Oh, and this look, he's so touching. He got really upset. Do you know, when it's sort of, I mean, I know it's horrible because it's sad and it's horrible to see someone upset, but it's so very touching when people who, officials, you know, when they get upset because they means they feel it in a human way. And you get these twonks going around doing these horrible things and, you know, attacking a family with 2 young children, you know, and those 2 children, they're not alive because that person, as you said, Dave, they're not alive because that person let them go. He didn't let them go. The parents sacrificed their own lives to save their children. Otherwise, probably the children would be deceased, or worse, maybe the children were the target, because we don't know why this person did it. He's a substitute teacher, apparently. He's a teacher and educator, the suspects. So it makes you wonder, is he a predator? I mean, were the children the target of that attack, you know? Anyway, the parents saved the children, but unfortunately sacrificed themselves, and the children are now orphans because of this twonk. But yeah, this guy getting all upset, and it's so sweet that he cares so much. Very sweet. You know, most people in the world are good, aren't they?
So I'm going to turn it over now to Secretary Shea Lewis, the Secretary of Parks.
Good evening. My name is Shea Lewis, Secretary of the Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism, and Director of Arkansas State Parks. Our hearts are with the Brink family tonight, and as they navigate this unimaginable tragedy. We're deeply grateful, and on behalf of the Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism, would like to thank the work and the men and women of the Arkansas State Police for their swift and tireless work to protect Arkansans and pursue justice for the victims and their loved ones. I would also like to extend my sincere thanks to the many partners who supported Arkansas State Parks during this time, especially the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, the local law enforcement agencies, all that provided additional law enforcement coverage within our state park system. I'm especially thankful for the dedicated response of our Arkansas State Park staff, including our park rangers, and many others who worked with professionalism, compassion, urgency in the face of this very difficult situation. As always, the safety of our guests and staff will continue to be a top priority for Arkansas State Parks. At this time, I'll turn it back over to Governor Sanders for any questions that may be available tonight.
Thank you. We'll take a couple questions if you guys have them.
Before we ask you about the details of this person arrested accused of this, do you know when this news was?
Now, just as we're watching this, and we'll stick with this because this is the story we're talking about, but I've got some breaking news for you. We're going to talk about the mushroom murderess and her house being seized. But there is some breaking news coming through as we speak that I'm going to tell you about at the end of this video.
Delivered to victims' family members.
Yeah, I'm going to allow and ask some of the law enforcement who have been leading these efforts to step up and answer some of those specific questions.
So the question was, were they notified or when?
They were notified. This had to be big news.
Yes, they were notified just after we made the arrest. They were actually one of the first people that we went to notify. And as you can imagine, it opened up a whole different set of emotions for the Brink family. I'm sure that it was with a sense of relief, but also with a whole new emotion that they're going to have to deal with.
And then, of course, we'll ask what led to this and talk about the person arrested, what you can't say.
So while an arrest has been made, we are refraining from releasing much of the information that led to that arrest. We still have a lot of work to do in terms of, securing a conviction, because that's our next big focus right now. But we will release some details as they become available that we think are pertinent. The community deserves to know what happened and what led to that arrest, and we'll be happy to share that when the time is right.
Can you confirm, we've seen video of...
So, we'll watch this till the end, but yeah, it's still an ongoing investigation. They've got the culprit or the suspect, allegedly, etc. But they've, like she'll say in a moment, they've still got to bring it to a conviction. They don't want to prejudice the conviction. They've still got to be careful what information they can give out, etc. So, of course, now everyone wants to know. I think what everybody wants to know is, why did he do it? How did this happen? Did he target that family specifically? Did he know them? Or were they just in the wrong place at the wrong time? Was it a robbery? Or were the children the target? Was he going for those girls? And he thought if he get rid of the parents, he can assault the girls. This is a teacher. So, just makes you wonder, is he one of those predators that looks for, quite often? There's a van going past advertising something. Is he one of those predator types who looks for a job near children? That's what predators do. So there's all that to find out yet, but she can't give that information yet because it's an ongoing investigation.
The arrest made at this Peter's the beauty shop in Springdale. Can we confirm that that's where he was taken into custody today?
Yes.
So that was him.
Yes.
Do we have any sense of a motive, or do we feel this was random at this time?
We're not going to talk about his motive right now. We're still exploring and determining exactly what that motive was. So it'd be a little premature for us to speak on that tonight.
Anything on this gentleman's background here locally? We're getting word he might have been a youth teacher in the area. Is there anything of that sort that you can confirm for us tonight?
So what I'll say is he just recently moved here and had gotten a job to work at a local school here.
Do you know where he moved from?
I believe it was.
So he'd got a job to work in a local school. He'd only just moved there. Was he? It makes you wonder, were the girls the target there? So, and it's scary, isn't it, thinking how many predators are working in schools? Because predators want to work with children. A lot of people don't want to work with children. No offense, but the saying, don't work with children or animals. It's like, it's a joke, but it's sort of true. Children aren't easy to work with. It's rewarding to work with children, but it's not easy. So a lot of people who gravitate towards jobs with children is because for predatory reasons. It happens, doesn't it? Now, I'm not saying we don't know that he's a predator, that why he killed that guy, the couple, why he attacked that family, maybe nothing to do with it. I mentioned yesterday, I saw on a couple of pictures of the guy, the father, wearing a Trump t-shirt, make America great again, and etc. even something like that can set someone off, can't it? In this volatile world that we live in, only takes someone to have a different political view, and someone would kill someone over it. Happens, doesn't it? And there's fights over politics. Could be something like that. He could have had that T-shirt on and he got angry with him, or they could have argued about anything, really, couldn't they? God, you're just people get into such a rage about such silly things. But of course, it is a possibility with him being a teacher. Going to work at a school, thank God he never got to work at the school as well. I mean, it's bad enough what he's done, but at least he's been found out before he went to work at the school. How many victims has he already had? And how many more victims could he have had, like of, maybe grooming, etc.? Gosh, it's a scary world sometimes, isn't it?
Oklahoma.
Yeah. Are you able to share where he was arrested specifically?
It was the barber shop that this gentleman just mentioned.
Did the public play a role in this arrest, or I'm just wondering how this happened? Do you have investigators and there's word up there? How did we get there?
So I will say that the public was instrumental. When we pushed out the initial information, we were asking for any video. A lot of the video footage that we received was instrumental in helping us identify this particular subject.
A lot of that was looking for a description of a vehicle.
Now, I just want to say that the father of the couple that were killed, the father, he was a milk delivery driver. Not a milkman, I don't think, like the Ernie days. But, he delivered and he got a new job. He was only just about to start a new job as well, wasn't he? Delivering milk, I presume in big vans, as I say, not like a little float like Ernie the milkman. But strange that they both only just moved there as well, isn't it? It's a lot of strange coincidences. So, yes, intriguing, isn't it? What was the connection, if any, or was it just one of those cases they were in the wrong place at the wrong time?
We know the description of the vehicle was seized and being processed as evidence. The description seems to match up with what you've recovered.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Can you talk about the calls, the tips? State police had to be flooded with calls and how difficult it is to sort through those and vet through those and really get to the core of this investigation.
The tips were, I will say, overwhelming. Once we set up a tip line, we were able to manage those quite well. But when we have to have that public assistance, and when we opened up that tip line, we were able to see what the public was interested in helping us. And it was overwhelming. We were getting them from Washington State. We were getting them from Illinois. They were coming in across the country. So they were instrumental.
When we think about what's going to happen next at Devil's Den, is there any sort of worry or concern that we might see a repeat, or we might see a decrease in the amount of people wanting to go to state parks at this point?
Do you want to answer that?
I don't know if we have a true indication of what the impact will be. I know it has greatly impacted this family with their loss. And as we kind of look forward to kind of navigate through this process and look at reopening trails and reopening other parts of the park, we're going to just kind of take our time in that. Right now, they're going to remain closed. I want to make sure that the Brink family has time to grieve, go through.
It's like, gosh, the chaos this twonk has caused. The chaos, because it's holiday season for a start. And they've had to close. Well, first and foremost, of course, this twonk has taken away the lives of two people in their 30s. Were they 30 or early 40s? He's orphaned two children and traumatized them, terrified them. He's probably traumatized the police, who've had to, find the bodies, comfort the children, go phone up the relatives to tell them their relatives are dead. He's traumatized all them. The parks had to be closed because because of all the forensic investigations, etc. So he's ruined a lot of people's holidays. Probably people were probably booked in to stay there. There was cabins there that people could stay in. So he's ruined that for everybody. He's that salon where he was having his haircut, they've had to close down. They're probably losing business. Do you know the ripples that go out from these crimes, apart from the most horrible part of it, it's actually taken 2 lives and orphaned 2 children, but all the other things that ripple out for it, that this person is responsible for. Why? We don't know. He'll have a reason in his own ridiculous mind, but what is his reason? Horrible man. Horrible man.
Through this process, time for our staff to assess the situation, and then we'll reopen it at the appropriate time.
Maybe 1 or 2 last questions.
We've asked for information, the overall assessment, could that include possible changes, maybe surveillance cameras and stuff? It's sad that we need those, but some things that we've been asking about.
Sure. Even over the last few years, we are constantly in a process of evaluating needs at our parks for safety and security, looking at technology as a tool, making sure our staff, our park rangers, our law enforcement officers are equipped with the tools and the training to be responsive to emergencies.
Let this be the last one here.
It's been, a 5-day ordeal, and information has been pretty scarce. Can you talk to us a little bit about kind of the strategy behind that and why information is kind of hard to, or why you didn't want to share as part of the investigation?
Sometimes when we share information, it actually creates a lot of running down trails that we don't want to go down. It actually hinders the investigation. As some of y'all are likely aware, there was a podcast that really, what we feel hurt the investigation.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know which podcast she means. I presume it wasn't mine. I doubt it very much. Podcasts that actually hurt the investigation. I don't know which podcast that was, but you've always got to bear in mind, I suppose. I mean, at the end of the day, when I do a podcast, I only follow what official information I get out there anyway. I mean, I do sort of speculate. We all have our theories. That's the whole point. It's like a discussion group, isn't it? But we do, I don't, like if somebody sent me a video of the suspect or so, I'd just go straight to the police. I'm not getting involved with any investigations. I'm not an investigator. I'm a podcaster, a YouTuber. We talk about true crime because we're interested in it for whatever reason. We want to understand it. We're fascinated with the procedures. We want justice for the victims. But as far as they're the police. They're the ones who investigate, as far as I'm concerned, the proper investigations. And I would hate to think that I'd interfered in that in any way. Just deal with what you hear from official sources. Talk about it. That's my point of being a social media person. I'm not here to pretend. Sometimes I was watching a TikToker actually this morning, and I was just thinking, what? They're talking as if they've got anything to do with any investigation. They sit in probably, I don't know, some tower block somewhere. They're probably on it. They don't work, so they're probably on income support or whatever, which is fine, but then they're on the TikTok or whatever talking as if they know anything about anything. They don't know anything about anything. They're just, they're talking about true crime, like trying to make out they're some sort of special detective person. You're not, you're just, at the end of the day, for me, I'm just a normal person just talking about true crime. I don't have any special knowledge. I don't have any special, I'm not even an ex-investigator or an ex-detective or whatever. It's all about discussion, and I'm only interested in official lines or what the family have to say. And this particular person, they don't even care about the families. I mean, the things that they say, and I'm sort of watching, it's like watching a train wreck, and I'm thinking, why am I even watching this? Because, and I'm dying to say something, but I won't say anything, because you put your head over the parapet and that's it, they come for you then, because, you know, they just talk a load of rubbish all the time.
The interviews that were done were spreading information that we were using to help locate, because the last thing we wanted to do was for him to be alerted that we were onto him, so to speak. And so that we try to give information that's going to help us identify this person, but we don't want to give anything that we don't want them to go underground. We don't want them to go into hiding. And so that's why we were very deliberate with the information and really on the timing that it was delivered. So that was kind of the strategy.
Thank you.
I'll just close out again by saying a big thank you to the men and women of our law enforcement, again, across every level, individuals who have stepped up and offered tips and information to our state parks team and their staff for everybody's collaborative effort over the course of the last several days. And again, we ask that every Arkansan remember this family and lift them up in prayer and offer condolences and comfort to them in any way that you can. So thank y'all again. And again, appreciate our law enforcement and prayers for all of Arkansas. Thank y'all.
Okay, so
All right,
that was the police interview. So a couple of people there were asking about the ages of the kids. I think I put, so yeah, Clinton, the father, he was 43. Kristen, the mother, was 41. And the girls are 7 and 9. So, you know, very young children. So apparently on the 911 call, if it's true, it says on this, this is a podcast. I don't know if this is the podcast she was talking about. I don't know. I haven't watched the whole podcast. I very rarely watch other people's podcasts, which sounds awful, but I often don't like listening to other people's podcasts. But this guy on True Crime Today said that the 9/11 dispatcher revealed, that's not even been spelt right, has it? Reveals new facts. Run as far as you can. So according to him and his podcast, whether he's the podcast she was talking about, I have no idea. But he says, or the 9/11 dispatcher, look, run as fast and as far as you can. These were a mother's final words to her daughters before she and her husband were murdered on a trail at Devil's Den. In an exclusive interview I had this morning. Now take this with a pinch of salt. I don't know if it's genuine or not. You know, the problem with podcasters sometimes, we saw it with that Joseph Morris, he's a terrible liar. A lot of them are complete liars that just make things up. Sadly, you know, I'm sorry to say, but they do. And this could be one of those cases of him making it up, or it could be legitimate. So I'm just reporting it back to you. You decide whether you believe it or not. I'm not listening to, go and listen to his podcast. I'm not listening to it. I know it'll irritate me because there won't be any, you know, there won't be any proof in it. It'll just be, I mean, at the end of the day, I could get my friend to ring up, couldn't I? And we could have a call over the video and them saying that they're a dispatcher, as long as they had an American accent, of course. But you know what I'm saying. Where's the proof? So I'll wait till the police, you know, release the 9/11 call. Then, yes, that's the real call. So these were a mother's final words to her daughters before she and her husband were murdered on a trail at Devil's Den. In an exclusive interview I had this morning, the 9/11 dispatcher from that day reveals chilling new details from the call. Now, would the 9/11 dispatcher be allowed to do that when there's an active investigation going on? I mean, yeah, maybe later after this twonk is convicted, this is an ongoing case. Surely they won't be allowed to do that, release information without permission. Anyway, who knows? Who knows? So there you go. I just don't know. You know, people talk so much crap on social. They do talk crap on social media. Probably people think I talk crap. You know, I don't know, but I never make things up. Bye, David. You know, don't make things up. That's one thing I don't do. So that's, you know, that's what I say. Okay, so where are we going now? So that's the latest on the Devil's Den. The guy's been apprehended. The suspect has been apprehended. It wasn't Travis Decker. So, of course, then it's important to remember as well that Travis Decker in Washington State, not Washington, D.C., he's still at large, or is he? I think he's dead. He's got to be dead somewhere. Travis Decker, who killed his three daughters, his three beautiful daughters, Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia. He's still not been found. So just important to remember that if you live in the Washington State area, and apologize, I said the wrong Washington last time. Anyway, so we're going to move on from that case now, and we're going to talk about, oh, and by the way, I have got some breaking news, but I'll tell you about the mushroom murderer first of all. Right, where am I going? So I'm going to change this because we're going to talk about the mushroom murders, and these are our victims, of course. We must never forget the victims. They're the first thing we have to talk about. They're so much more important than the perpetrator. And so that's Don and Gail and Heather. Don, Gail, Heather, they all died, unfortunately. Ian survived, but only just, didn't he? Sorry, I need to take that big picture off because otherwise you won't be able to see. So, as you know, the mushroom murders, I'm not mentioning the name of the person because she's gone into the hellhole. She's in the hellhole. I'm still showing her photo because she hasn't been sentenced yet, but I don't feel like mentioning her name. We all know who she is. She's Lady McMushroom, Lady Macbeth. The mushroom killer. We don't need to know any more than that, do we? So she's Moneybags, Mushroom, isn't she? She's got loads of money. She's in prison, but she's a millionaire, isn't she? You know, so she gave all that away, didn't she? You know, she gave, when I say she gave it all away, she gave it all up, but because she thought she could murder those people and get away with it. And now it turns out, hi Lily, it turns out, getting the mushrooms out there. Thank you, Yvonne. Yeah, the Pinocchios, yeah, the mushrooms and the Pinocchios. Yeah, let's have that. In fact, we've not had the little lie thing for ages, have we? But anyway, she's been found guilty. She's not been sentenced yet. We'll have the sentencing coming up next month, probably. Now, before I start to talk about that, and I'm sorry because it probably irritate people, but I've got to do a little bit more, what's the word, housekeeping, very short thing. I just want to tell you that the Vicky Marie Chats shop is open. Thank you to all of you that have ordered from there. If you go on my Ko-fi link, which, yeah, this is my Ko-fi Vicky Marie, which is on my channel. Also on there, thank you to those of you that bought me a Ko-fi, of course, as well. But also on there are various mugs and bits and pieces that are merch from my shop. Thank you to people that have ordered already. And if there's anything that you would like but is not there, I am going to build on that. I've got a lot more building on it to do, but it's just time. If there's anything in particular you want customizing, I can do that for you as well. So just to let you know about that. So I have to just, remember my, I always forget. So let's have a look at this then. So what's happened is Erin, of course, has got this great big lovely house. Erin, she had a silver spoon in her mouth, didn't she? She's inherited money. She's comfortable. She doesn't know what it's like to have to worry about paying a bill or, having her electric cut off or her water cut off. That's happened to me a million times. And, she doesn't have to worry about, she's got her 2 kids. She don't have to worry about getting their books, because I know there'll be a lot of people, in Spain, you don't get your books paid. I don't know how it is in the UK or other countries, but I've only got one child. I can remember every August was a nightmare, worrying about September, because you'd have to, the books would be about €400 or something like that. And, it'd become, for me, because I'm so quiet in August, I hardly earn any money in August because of, people don't want to do Spanish classes. So you'd have a really quiet August where you hardly had any money. And then next thing, it's September, and your children are going back. Oh, for me, it was one child, thank God. Your child's going back to school. You've got to buy their books. You've got to find €400 from somewhere. Also, it's my son's birthday in September, so it'd be trying to sort out, birthday presents, party, this, that, and the other. All that following a really quiet month. So it's always a bit of a nightmare. I never looked forward to his birthday, which is a shame, because I was always worried. I always managed to do it. I always managed to get what I needed to get. Always got, I've got through it, but it's a getting through it. It's not like enjoying, is it? And looking forward to your children's birthdays. And as I say, I've only got one child. So if you've got 2, 3, 4 children, and you've got to spend €400, €500 on each child, it's massive amounts of money, isn't it? So Erin's never had to worry about that. She's got, $1 million in the bank or whatever, and she's got her properties and this, that, and the other. So she never had to worry about money. She almost didn't have enough to worry about, I think, sometimes. The thing is, when people have got a lot of things on their plate, they just get on with it, don't they? Because if they don't, no one else is going to sort it out for them, are they? So, you just have to keep going, because if you don't keep going, everything just falls down like a pack of cards. Sometimes I don't think people have got enough to worry about, and I feel like that about Erin. It's like, her biggest worry was that her in-laws weren't supporting her over, her trials with Simon, her partner. I feel like people get dramatic about silly things when they haven't got enough to worry about. So she got hypochondriac, didn't she? She imagined illnesses that she didn't really have. Someone who's got a real illness, that's not going to happen, is it? Because they're grappling with real issues. But if somebody's got no issues, sometimes they sort of imagine issues. For her to say she was worried about doctors and this, that, and the other, she was always up the doctors with something. There was always something that was wrong with her. And she wanted to be a nurse. Thank God she never got to be a nurse. She would be there's definite Bev Allitt, Lucy Letby vibes in Erin. She definitely would have been terrifying to wake up to, wouldn't she? She wouldn't, oh my God, you wouldn't, if you upset her, bloody hell. And her being an air traffic controller and all that, you just think Erin should never have other people's lives in the palm of her hand, because she loves it. She loves the power of it, doesn't she? Anyway, she's not going to do that now. Thank you, God. She's not going to be a midwife. She's not going to be a nurse. But she's in prison. She's going to get life in prison, I would imagine. Surely she's not going to get parole. She's a triple murderer, convicted triple murderer. Surely that's it for Erin. Throw away the key. Hopefully, isn't it? I mean, how could they ever let her go? You know, I mean, how could they? Bye, Tracy. You know, how could they let her go? So let's have a look what's being said. Oh, where's it gone? There it is. So she got this big, massive house that she bought, didn't she? Sort of as part of her, she sold her parents' house when they died and probably split it with her sister, I would imagine, but got millions from it. And she bought this lovely house in Morwell or Leongatha in Australia. And there's been, she's not allowed to sell it. It's not allowed to be sold.
Property at the centre of the deadly mushroom lunch. Well, Erin Patterson's Leongatha home could potentially hit the market after the Department of Public Prosecutions made an order. The deadly.
Hang on, I just want to. So don't forget, they had put some supporters of hers or someone had put all black like coverings up around the home so you couldn't see in. I wonder if that's still up. So we didn't know if that was because they were expecting Erin to come home, you know, to get found not guilty and to go home. So, or was it put there to stop cameras taking pictures of stuff coming out of the home? We just don't know.
Mushroom lunch. Well, Erin Patterson's Leongatha home could potentially hit the market after the Department of Public Prosecutions made an order with the Victorian Supreme Court to freeze the property just in case any of the families of Donegal Patterson or Heather Wilkinson wish to seek compensations. So this initially happened as a closed court order, so it has remained a secret until now, and that is because a gag order banning us from reporting these details lifted late this evening. So now we can tell you that Erin Patterson's home has basically been frozen by the state, which means it's left in a sort of legal limbo. And that is because if people, including Pastor Ian Wilkinson, wish to make some sort of compensation claim, then the DPP could rely on Erin Patterson's house to get those funds. It also means that Erin Patterson obviously can't sell the house herself or transfer it into someone else's name. This would be a huge blow to Erin Patterson. She told the jury in her triple murder trial that the property was her dream home and she designed the house herself using Microsoft Paint. She told the court that she thought she would grow old in the Leongatha home and her children would advance.
What, she designed the house herself using Microsoft Paint? Oh my God. Oh my God, sorry. Just like, what? She's such a control freak, isn't she? So she designed the house herself, apparently, using Microsoft Paint. It was her dream home. Now, I do think it's a very complicated situation because, and I don't get me wrong, I want Erin's kids to have the best of whatever. I mean, I presume the kids are with Simon, her estranged husband. I presume, you know, and those kids, they've got enough to cope with, haven't they, knowing that their mum is a murderer, a triple murderer, and in fact has killed their own grandparents. That's enough for her kids to have to worry about. So if her kids end up getting, you know, being comfortable for the rest of their lives because of her sort of inheritance or whatever, that's good. Now, she isn't going to want Simon to have any of it, though, is she? I mean, let's face it. She, you know, if that house got sold and the money couldn't pass to the kids, could it? Could only go in a trust. So they're too young, aren't they? So who, you know, and who would, you know, at the end of the day, if Simon's the one bringing them up, he needs money to bring them up. So it's a very complicated situation, isn't it? Erin will be going mad about it because she likes to be in control of everything. And if she's not in control of it, she'll be going mental. absolutely mental, won't she? And good. I'm glad she is, but I don't want the kids to suffer. I don't want Simon to suffer. Because at the end of the day, he's lost his parents. And then as far as Ian is concerned, I hope he does bloody sue. I hope they all sue. And they get the most money out of Erin they can, because it doesn't bring their loved ones back. But, you know, and we know money doesn't make you happy, but it certainly makes your life a lot easier, doesn't it? So if you've got enough problems to cope with, you know, what you've already been through, at least if you haven't got money worries, you know, that's something, isn't it? Thank you, Joanne. I think it was Joanne that said, yes, thank you, about the necklace. Oh, yeah, it's a very...
eventually bring their children as well, and they'd be able to make a lifetime of memories. But now that has all disappeared as she's looking down the barrel of a potential lifetime behind bars.
Yeah. Let's see if I can find another video, actually. I just think it is good that she can't do it, because I know she'll be annoyed by it. She'll be annoyed by it because she won't like not being in control, and that's it. So, you know, her home being restrained, she definitely will not be happy. So I've got another video. Let's have a look at. Oh, here it is. So, little advert.
The house at the centre of the deadly mushroom lunch could hit the market after the state launched civil action against Erin Patterson. In a secret hearing, the Crown made an order to freeze the triple murderer's Leongatha home in case her victims' families seek compensation. Court reporter Amber Johnston.
Built as a dream home for a growing family, the property at the centre of the deadly mushroom lunch stands still, frozen by the state, as the wait for justice plays out beyond its walls.
I think this is a preemptive move by the DPP to ensure that any assets are retained.
The Crown seizing control of Erin Patterson's property, leaving it in a legal limbo.
In order to ensure there's assets to pay any compensation, they froze them.
No compensation orders have been made by the families of Doningale Patterson or Heather Wilkinson, but this latest move keeps the door open.
Someone would have to prove that you're a victim of Erin Patterson. Now, for a number of people, the families of the victims, and of course for Pastor Ian Wilkinson, that is very easy to prove that he is a victim.
If the court eventually grants some sort of compensation...
I hope Ian does claim compensation. If he doesn't want it for himself, maybe he feels he's comfortable enough. He's a very humble man anyway, isn't he? But he could sue for compensation, and he could use it for the church, you know, to help other people. You know, once that money was his, he could do whatever he wanted with it. He could help other people with it, couldn't he? So I hope he does. I hope he does put in a claim.
Then the house could hit the market. It won't just be the price that gives buyers pause, but the dark history etched into its walls.
With all the news, the media, local and international, it really is a tough one to sort of see who the buyer might be.
Photos released by the court
who would buy
the curtain on the murder plot. A chilling picture of how a family home became the scene of one of Australia's worst crimes.
I think you'll have a lot of people that would like to just have a look through.
Yeah, a lot of people would want to go and look at it, but would they want to live there? Because that is, at the end of the day, the house where Erin cooked these beef Wellingtons that were going to murder these people, where she sat there and watched them eat every last mouthful, watched them knowing that they were going to die. But having said that, there are some people that are intrigued by things like that, and they buy homes where things have happened. The other thing, of course, people could do is turn it into a mushroom museum or something. I don't know. I suppose some investor could buy it and do tours or something like that. I don't know. And you could stop for lunch and have beef Wellington be on the menu. And, you know, I'm sorry, I'm being facetious, but you know what? If you didn't laugh, you'd cry in these cases. Yeah, who's going to want to live there? Who is going to want to live there after what happened there? So although these poor people, they didn't die there, but that they were, from the minute they got up from that table, from the minute they finished those meals, they were dead people walking. And she said goodbye to them, probably gave them a kiss on the cheek, sent them off, you know. Oh, and they were like, oh, that was delicious. Oh, thank you so much. It was such a lovely meal. Thank you for inviting us. Prayed for her because she had cancer. And all the time then, they were already dying inside.
But coming down to the buyer, I think it can either go two ways.
Erin Patterson described the property as her dream home. She was involved in every step of the design, telling the jury she drew the plans herself on Microsoft Paint. Erin Patterson building the perfect home to hold a lifetime of memory.
Microsoft Paint. I mean, how old is Microsoft Paint? You know, even me, and I'm like the least sort of advanced person as far as technology is concerned. Even I can't remember the last time I used Microsoft Paint, for fuck's sake. Sorry. Microsoft Paint. Mind you, it was probably a while ago. Yeah, maybe it was at a time when Microsoft Paint was popular. But she's a cheapskate as well, isn't she? That I do think that about Erin. All that money she's got. Why didn't she get a bloody architect in to do it? You know, designing it on yourself on Microsoft Paint is what you do if you're on a budget and you can't afford to pay anyone. But if you've got Erin's money, you get a bloody proper architect in. Just shows you she's got to do everything herself because she thinks she's superior to everybody else.
But now she faces a future without them as she stares down the potential of life behind bars. Amber Johnston, 9 News.
Yeah. I feel like I've got to show, you know who she reminds me of, and I'm going to show that picture because that's Erin, isn't it? General Woonwort from Watership Down. Yeah, she's a bit rodenty, isn't it? She's like a cross between a mushroom and a rodent. Isn't she? Horrible woman. What a horrible woman. Honestly, I feel no compunction about being nasty to her because she is nasty. She didn't care about those people, being nasty to them, murdering them in front of her eyes. Why should I care? Why should I care? I'd just like to imagine her going to hell. Out of control. She'll hate it in prison in one way because she's out of control, unless she can use her money in there to buy herself some control. Hateful woman. I'll tell you what, as far as killers go, male or female, there's not many more worse than her, is there? Anyway, I just wanted to bring that to you. Now I have some breaking news. I have some breaking news on another case that we've been following, and I'm going to go to it in a moment. First of all, I'm going to put on my, I hope you'll have patience if you've seen it before, but I'm going to put on the information about my books, etc. Because, yeah, mustn't forget my bread and butter is as a Spanish teacher. I've written some books on learning Spanish. I'm going to put, and also there's a book out there on Amazon, like an autobiographical, can't say that word, an autobiography more or less about how I ended up living in Spain and talking about true crime. And then after these two videos, very short videos, only 6 minutes, call it an ad break, where I'm going to get a drink, have a bathroom break. I'll come back to tell you this breaking news. Hola, soy Vicky. And are you wanting to learn Spanish? Have you been trying to learn Spanish and it's just you can't put the words together? Common thing that people say to me is, I know a lot of words, but I just can't put a sentence together. So I'm here to tell you how you can learn Spanish through English. Learn how to make sentences, not phrasebook Spanish. Learn how to ask questions, answer questions. Right from beginner or whatever level you are, if you're struggling in putting it all together, there'll be a level I can offer you a solution. So I've been teaching Spanish for over 20 years to English-speaking people. And these are the books that I have written. Break the Language Barrier Level 1 for beginners. Level 2 for intermediate or sort of pre-intermediate. Level 3 intermediate. Level 4 upper intermediate. And level 5 for advanced. Because really level 5 is to practice what you've already learned. So if you've already learned a lot of Spanish, but you want some practice with translations, conversation practice, games, etc., level 5 is for you. If you know more than level 1, in other words, you know how to already speak in the present tense, if your grammar has gone past the present tense but you're struggling with the past tenses, level 2 is the book for you. All these books are available on Amazon. Any Amazon, wherever you are in the world that you want to learn Spanish, you can order one of my books from Amazon. The other thing you can do, you may be interested in Zoom classes. I've left my contact details here on the video so that you can WhatsApp me or email me if you want to know about Zoom classes and how they work. Or another way you can learn is, along with the book, have recorded classes to learn. So although we're not sort of face-to-face as we would be on a Zoom class, you can still ask me questions. You can watch the class, on the video, watch the class which goes with the book. All the books have everything is, the classes, I can either teach you face-to-face like we're talking now in Zoom classes, or if either your budget doesn't run that far or you haven't got the time for Zoom classes, we can do it as a course where you get the book and you get the actual recorded classes, and you can learn in your own time, but you can still ask me questions by email, just not in the moment because it's not an actual one-to-one class, but you'll find that is reflected in the price. So if you want more details of how you can become better at Spanish, and remember, it's always progress, not perfection that we're looking for. Perfection is impossible. Believe me, if you're going for perfection, that's not going to happen for a long time, if ever. But communication, confidence, fluidity, all those add up to be fluency, don't they? Okay, so my books offer explanations in English, step-by-step, easy-to-follow grammar, gradual build of vocabulary and conversation skills, and all the answers are included, and you always have full internet backup. In other words, you can always email me or WhatsApp me a question and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Okay, so what are you waiting for? If you want to learn Spanish, don't hesitate. Okay. Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Did you ever want to know a little bit more about me and my background, how I came to become interested in true crime, how I ended up in Spain being a Spanish teacher? If you want to know a little bit about me, a little bit more about me as a person, you can find my book, Confessions of a Spanish Teacher, on any Amazon site, wherever you live in the world. And I believe that everyone has a story to tell, and this is my story. So it's the story of how I grew up in Manchester in the UK on a council estate, and very humble beginnings, and my journey through personal tragedies, disastrous romances, and triumphs to become a single mum, a Spanish teacher, and an interpreter living in Spain, and eventually a YouTuber reporting on true crime. So it details my various experiences with people and places over 20 years of teaching, over 20 years now. Ooh, where did that go? Of teaching Spanish and interpreting through the backdrop of the recession, financial uncertainty, severe flooding, and living through COVID. I hope you will find it funny, sad, amazing, silly, serious, and stranger than fiction at times. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope to make you angry at least once. I hope to make you cry at least twice, and I hope to make you laugh many, many times. So thank you for all your support on my YouTube channel, and if you want to know a little bit more about me as a person, then you can find out there. So thank you so much. See you very soon in the next video. And as always, till then, may your God go with you. Bye. Okay, I'm back. So thank you for being patient through that. So I've got some breaking news now. The other day we covered the case of this woman. Does she look like a murderer? Tamika Chesser. She probably looks the least like a murderer that you could imagine. But this girl who's an ex-reality star, she starred in Beauty and the Geek. This was her boyfriend. She one day decided to, well, let's say allegedly, because of course this case hasn't come to court yet. This poor guy, her boyfriend, he was allegedly attacked, murdered. This is Julian's story. And he was then decapitated. And I've recently covered this case. I did a video on it. And up to then, Julian's head had not been found. Now, the breaking news is the police have found his head. Now, I know this doesn't make things better for Julian's family. They've lost Julian. Julian is deceased. But really, I don't think you can underestimate the importance of finding his head, because to be able to bury him as an entire person, not as a dismembered, but I mean, you can't even imagine how it would be for your loved one to be murdered. But you can even less imagine how it would be to have to bury part of them, you know, because of the atrocity that this woman did to him. I mean, you know, it just goes to show you murderers do not look like what they are. You know, they're not like drooling monsters who come out from behind the wardrobe or whatever. This is what a murderer looks like. Now, I do think that Tamika had a lot of mental health issues. Now, if you watch my channel regularly, you'll know I don't accept mental health as an excuse for murder a lot of the time. But it does seem with her, I don't know if there was any psychosis or drugs involved or whatever, but just from some of the things, if you look up the video on my channel, I'll try and remember. I mean, I will be splitting this video that I'm doing now, this live. What I always do is then when I'm talking about more than one story, I split the video off later and release it as individual videos. And when I do that, I will try and remember to put the link in there to the previous video that I did about this case. So, yeah, I mean, you know, look, I mean, she's a beautiful girl, isn't she, at the end of the day? Julian, I'm sure he thought he'd won the lottery when he ended up going out with her in the first instance. But it seems like her mental health just completely deteriorated, and she ended up shaving her head, having a total meltdown in a local bar. But anyway, let's have a look where I saw this, which was on Twitch. Not Twitch, on Twitter. I always want to say Twitch. Should say X, really. So yeah, police believe that a human skull found in the South Australian scrub belongs to the former partner of Gold Coast reality TV star Tamika Chesser. A dog found the remains 6 weeks. Always these dogs are bloody brilliant. What would we do without dogs? These cadaver dogs. Now look at where they've had to search for this head. And the last video I did about it, the police were calling off the search because they wanted the family to be able to bury Julian in peace. And this quite often happens, it seems, doesn't it? As soon as the police declare that they're calling off a search, they find whatever it was they were looking for. You know, I hope that happens in other cases as well. But anyway, so a dog found the remains 6 weeks after Julian's story was allegedly murdered by her. So I presume, unless she is cooperating now, maybe that's how they've ended up finding it. I don't think she cooperated in the beginning. Let's have a look at the video.
In Port Lincoln Scrub, the breakthrough detectives desperately needed. In Port Lincoln Scrub, the breakthrough detectives desperately needed.
The remains are most likely human, and I believe that they are the remains of Julian's story.
It was a dog walker who made the grim discovery this morning.
One of those situations where the dog ran off into the scrub, the dog didn't come back immediately on being called. The person who was walking the dog has gone in to see what's going on, and that's how.
Oh, so it sounds like it was a civilian's dog. So that happens quite often, doesn't it? So no, it wasn't a police dog. Oh my God, that poor person. I mean, it's great that Julian's head has been found. That's quite traumatic for the dog walker, isn't it, at the end of the day, to find a human head. But yeah, there you go, dog. So it'll have got a sniff of it, and I mean, it's horrible to think about. I mean, at the end of the day, Julian, he's been dead several weeks now. You know, his body, his decapitated torso was found in the home that she apparently had tried to set fire to. You know, I mean, she is definite Fruit Loop. I mean, she is a Fruit Loop. I'm not excusing what she's done. But I'm sad that she couldn't, you know, cooperate and say where she'd put his head. That is so important to his family. Anyway. At least, I mean, God, it's awful, isn't it, when something as gruesome as this is like good news. You know, it is good news, though. It is good news. And I'm glad that his head has been found. And they've known for a while that he was deceased. They've wanted to lay him to rest properly. But I think that finding the head is a massive thing.
How those remains were discovered.
39-year-old Julian Story was killed 6 weeks ago, allegedly by his partner Tamika Chesser in the unit they shared. She's a former contestant of reality TV show Beauty and the Geek and is accused of dismembering Julian and disposing of his head.
Julian's family have been contacted today, provided an update in relation to what has been located.
In the past month and a half, a series of searches has failed to find his remains. Where the dog walker was this morning is not an area major crime police have been to. This is a crime that has rocked Port Lincoln, and investigators have always said the help they receive. So
it's not an area that they'd been searching. So they weren't thinking that he was there. God, I mean, how has he ended up there? I mean, she's an absolute bitch for not telling them where his head is, you know. So, right, I'm changing my mind now. I was there was a bit of me because I felt with her, she definitely was going through some sort of mental health crisis. But now I'm pissed off with her, you know, so she couldn't even tell them where he was. And now whatever mental health crisis you're going through, can be humane enough to then, when you've been caught out, tell the family where the head is.
From the community, would be invaluable. Although the human skull found will need to be sent to Adelaide for forensic testing, investigators are confident they can give his loved ones some closure.
Some comfort to the family that we can get all of his remains back to them.
In Port Lincoln, Lauren Rose, 7 News.
I just realised I left up the picture there of the mushroom murder victims. But anyway, I'm going to find another. I think we want to talk about this a little bit more, or I do. I want to see a few more news videos about it, because it is good news. It's gruesome, but it's good news that it can be put to rest, complete. Let's have a look at this one now. There'll be loads of, it's all coming out now in the news in Australia. I expect he did, because he was sort of laughing there a bit. I mean, I think that's a relief laugh, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, he had to make the difficult decision to call off the search, which must have been a difficult decision to make. But they were, they'd been searching. Oh, I've got to share this tab, haven't I? Sorry, I'll put it back to the beginning. They've been searching for so long. He had to make the difficult decision to not search anymore, but that would have been a difficult decision. He's got to tell the family that as well. So no wonder he's relieved. So sorry, I wasn't sharing it before, but I'm sharing it now. And you'll see he's actually so relieved, isn't he, that policeman?
A major development in the shocking case of murdered Port Lincoln man Julian Story, with his missing head finally found 6 weeks after his death. While Tamika Chesser, the former reality star accused of killing him, fronted court again today.
A waterfront stretch of scrubland on the edge of Port Lincoln, the scene of a gruesome find and key breakthrough in a murder case that's gripped the community in the weeks since Julian Story's decapitated body was uncovered last month.
The fact that we've found a skull and human remains in Port Lincoln, given what we've been there for the last 4 weeks, would point in a strong direction that it is him.
A local walking their dog along the popular trail at Slipway Scrub, raising the alarm this morning.
The dog ran off into the scrub. The dog didn't come back immediately on being called. The person who was walking the dog has gone in to see what's going on, and that's how those remains were discovered.
The discovery comes more than 6 weeks after former reality TV star Tamika Chesser allegedly murdered and beheaded her boyfriend in their Port Lincoln home. Firefighters were called to the Flinders Highway unit after reports of a fire in mid-June. Crews finding the 39-year-old's body inside under a pile of clothes. Major detectives, along with local police and SES, launched a series of searches in nearby scrubland and waterways looking for the victim's missing head, but never identified the latest crime scene as an area of interest.
This is on the marina side, and where the murder scene is on the other side of the township. So it's some distance away.
Major crime detectives are now travelling back to the Eyre Peninsula town to search the area for further evidence and collect additional CCTV. Chesser did appear in court this morning on other charges, and while she reportedly did respond to the magistrate, detectives say they still haven't been able to speak with her and don't know when they'll be able to.
I don't want to dwell on
when we're going to speak to Tamika and why we can't speak to Tamika. All I will say is, at an appropriate time in this investigation, we will make arrangements to speak with Tamika.
But for now, some closure's finally been provided for Mr. Story's grieving family.
They're hoping that this is Julian, obviously, so that they can move on, have the funeral with all of Julian's remains. They're clearly dealing with a lot, but they're happy with the information they've been given and how things are progressing.
Abby Smith, 10 News.
Now he's presuming it's Julian, I suppose, because there's no other heads they're currently looking for. I hope it is Julian, but it seems like it's not been confirmed forensically yet that it is Julian, but he seems confident that it is, so let's hope it is. Let's see if there's any more videos about it. Yeah. I mean, they're probably all much of a muchness, but it's always interesting. Search resumes. Right, we'll watch one more, which is, and then that's it. Might be the same one, to be honest. Oh, no, it's not. I just think as parents or family, friends, this is one headline you would never expect to see about your loved one, is it? Police believe they found Julian Story's head. You know, and imagine that that was your son, your brother, or, you know, your friend. And this was his girlfriend. She's definitely loop-de-loop, isn't she, this woman? I think that this is a definite case of mental health issues, but anyway.
Finally found the missing head of Port Lincoln murder victim Julian Story.
A local dog walker unearthing the shock find. A major step in the murder investigation against the woman accused of killing and beheading him. His girlfriend, former reality TV star Tamika Chesser.
In scrubland off the coast of Port Lincoln, a grim find, a skull uncovered by an unsuspecting walker and their dog.
The remains are most likely human, and I believe that they are the remains of Julian Story.
It's been 6 weeks since Julian was murdered, his body uncovered in his unit, police allege beheaded, dismembered and set alight. And this is the woman accused of carrying it out, Tamika Chesser, a former Beauty and the Geek contestant. Now today, a breakthrough after weeks of tracing her movements on CCTV and searches across several locations on both land and water. A discovery kilometres from where his body was found and somewhere police haven't searched, but now they are. A diamond marking the spot of where detectives located remnants of a small fire. Major crime once again in the quiet coastal town, searching for any more clues.
So we don't know what other evidence may or may not be there, and as part of the investigation, the thoroughness of it means that we will search. We may find something, we may find nothing.
Police are confident it is Julian's missing head. The skull will undergo forensic testing in Adelaide to confirm, and while a gruesome find, it's one his family have been hoping for.
Still planning for a funeral, which I believe to be towards the end of next week, but hopefully we can give them some comfort that we've found all of the remains of Julian.
Tamika Chesser today appeared in court via video link from a mental health facility on separate charges of assaulting a police officer in the hours after she was arrested for Julian's murder, but also for acting disorderly in a tobacco store and at the Port Lincoln police station in February. We heard her speak to the magistrate, but police still haven't spoken to her.
I don't want to dwell on when we're going to speak to Tamika and why we can't speak to Tamika. All I will say is, at an appropriate time in this investigation, we will make arrangements to speak with Tamika.
There's no doubt this murder case has shocked this entire community. Today we saw cars streaming up this normally quiet street with people trying to catch a glimpse of the latest developments. Right now there is a police guard here at the scene, and police say they'll be back here tomorrow morning, where together with the local SES they'll do a thorough search looking for any new evidence. Brenton.
Kazana, a massive development. Thank you.
Okay. So, yeah. Oh, hang on. Trying to put my face back on. So, yeah, breaking news. So we've talked about the three things. These poor children who drowned while they were on holiday in Salou. The Devil's Den suspect has been arrested. We talked about the mushroom murderer's house being seized for possible future payouts to victims. And then while I was on, that breaking news came forward that Julian's Story's head finally has been found. And funny, isn't it, when you're thinking of that as good news, that head's been found is good news, but it is good news. And anyway, so as I say, we'll be cutting this video up into smaller chunks and releasing them with each individual story. So, but listen, thank you for watching. To all of you that have watched, all of you that have participated in the chat, thank you so much. Now, remember, don't forget to like and subscribe. That's completely free. Yeah, to like and subscribe and share this video. All these are free ways you can help my channel. And if you feel like going a little bit further, why not become a member? Tonight we've got the members live, exclusive members live. And I always look forward to that. I think we all look forward to that every Thursday. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, as always, may your God go with you. Thank you. Oh, let me put the I need to put the outro on. No, I'm tired. I'm gonna go and have a siesta.